So the Woody and Lefty Lou show came to an end in the summer of 1938 as Chrisman left due to her own illness, and Guthrie then spent 2 or 3 months rambling from campsite to shantytown, living among the migrant workers in the Central Valley and San Joaquin Valley, often trading his songs for food and shelter and working sporadically. And it was during this period of time that Guthrie began to refer to the Dust Bowl refugees as, quote, my people. And this is when he began to compose songs that would later appear in his famous 1940 album, Dust Bowl Ballads. And for the first time in his life, Guthrie experienced a union-led strike, connected with radical labor organizers, and interacted with, quote, his people in a new musical way, both as a performer and as a participant. And in January 1939, Guthrie was back on KFBD with a new show called Woody the Lone Wolf. He began to drop the old country songs for his more political compositions, and he started to offer more verbal commentary than before. Without Lefty Lou, the show lost much of its popular appeal, but Guthrie made friends with Ed Robin, a local leader in the Communist Party who also hosted a show on the station. And Robin was astounded by Guthrie's unique persona as this Dust Bowl rebel. So for the next year or two, Guthrie became the new darling of the left in Los Angeles, playing at rallies, fundraisers, and house parties. And Robin introduced Guthrie to the intellectuals in LA who were grouped around the anti-fascist agenda, including Will Geer, Thomas Dreiser, Harry Hay, and John Steinbeck. So by the time that Guthrie arrived in New York in 1940, his music and his musical persona had evolved decisively in a political direction that provided the basis for subsequent compositions in the next decade. The writing techniques employed by Guthrie, writing the way ordinary people talked, using the verbal rhythms and bad grammar, the long run-on sentences, the cataloging of names of people and specific details of places, the dates of events, all of these became more pronounced. Some elements of his music also hardened, particularly his resistance to use fancy guitar chords or elaborate guitar picking and complex melodies. As Pete Seeger said, Guthrie would sometimes play a 10-verse song without ever changing chords. People talked about it, verse after verse after verse with no bridge, sometimes with no chorus. Or choruses that are really the same as verses, like This Land Is Your Land. Most important to Guthrie, though, was not really the song itself, but rather the particular connection, the specific connection made between that song and that audience at that particular time. So the wide variety of themes that had comprised the radio songs of the Woody and Lefty Lou show were narrowed to reflect Guthrie's political consciousness. Religious songs built on themes of sin on earth and redemption in heaven, which had been so prevalent in the early music, gave way to a new version of Christianity that portrayed Jesus as a social radical, as in one of the first songs he wrote after arriving in New York, Jesus Christ. Songs that describe the difficulty facing migrant workers in the big city were changed to emphasize how all working people in all occupations were exploited. A handful of old songs that displayed insensitivity to African Americans were dropped in favor of new compositions that took aim at racism, discrimination, and lynching. Hobos became unsung heroes of the Lost Highway, cops and security guards were depicted as vigilantes, bank robbers were transformed into class-conscious Robin Hoods. The old hillbilly songs, traditional ballads, and religious songs disappeared from the repertoire, replaced by songs built around social justice and union organizing. But even as he honed his ability to craft instant picket line sing-along songs, his lyrics, perhaps strengthened by his recording experiences and months of writing his autobiography, became richer and deeper. The powerful imagery of a song called Hooversville, which was probably written in LA in April 1941, demonstrates Guthrie's development. Hooversville, I'm going to do that and then I'll close.